Good evening, welcome all of you. This evening we are going to discuss a glorious topic that is on hostile forces. So many times we are acquainted with, we know, and of course we listen to the term hostile forces. So forces, those are hostile. So many times we keep listening and the things come to our view. Of course we think all the hostile forces. Sometimes we feel things are not ready for us. It is not comfortable. Much more, almost everything from every corner or some corners. I find the hostility from different people. Like this terms it is coming anyway. We are just describing it as the hostile forces. So this topic we are going to discuss from almost from Sri Aurobindo's philosophy. So anyway, Sri Aurobindo has quoted the term beautifully on hostile forces. What really exactly is this hostile forces? It means we can just two lines we can quote from Sri Aurobindo. The suggestion of absolute secrecy. They suggest, and this suggestion comes regarding the absolute secrecy is often a trick of the astral powers to prevent the seeking for enlightenment and success. In success, it is for the yogic success, yogic enlightenment. So sometimes they feel secrecy must be maintained. Absolute secrecy is necessary. I want to guide you in absolute secrecy. This is actually for this actually for giving mantra and all to guidance. It needs a confidential atmosphere. So there itself is this suggestion of absolute secrecy, again a trick of the astral forces to prevent the seeking for enlightenment and success. They just these things, if it is happening all the way, it is actually blocking the progress, though it is the hostile attack. Again, Sri Aurobindo quotes in very beautiful in the next way, in the next format Sri Aurobindo quotes, even an unegoistic virtue or a divine good and love, even an unegoistic virtue or a divine good and love entering the world awakes the hostile forces. So these hostile forces, it is there. They want to reign the entire world, entire universe. So they don't expect, they don't try to welcome the force, the light which is coming from the top. And this, they feel if these forces are coming, forces, this light, this power, if they are coming from the top and they are actually entering this earthly atmosphere, naturally their work, their job will be over and they will be in trouble. So naturally, when this light and power that comes, actually they feel very hostile and they try to check it, stop it. Anyway, we'll read against Sri Aurobindo. The hostile forces exist. Aurobindo accepts and explains, assures it exists. There is no problem, and have been known by the yogic experience. Somebody is having yogic experience. Through that experience, somebody can see since the days of the even Zoroaster period, Veda period in Zoroaster in Asia. Egypt or you see Chaldea or Kabbalah. This at old times this feeling was there. This term was existing. It was there. These things, of course, can't be felt or known so long as one lives in the ordinary mind. Suppose it is you are in the spiritual mind, you can feel from the ancient time it was felt. Now itself you can feel, provided you are in the spiritual or higher mind. Once you are coming to the ordinary mind, you can't feel it, that can't be known by you, because you know this for perception, these ideas will never come. For there are only two categories of influence recognizable. Influence of the hostile forces, it is coming in two categories. You can feel it: the ideas and feelings and actions of oneself and others, and the second one is play of the environment and the physical forces. These two factors are playing major role. First idea is idea, feelings and action of the of oneself and others. Second one is play of the environment and the physical consciousness forces. These two play important role. If you are in a higher consciousness, you can feel. In ordinary consciousness, difficult to feel, but they exist, and it is existing since long back. It is there. One begins to experience all an action of the forces of Prakriti, psychological as well as physical, play upon the nature. So these are the into physical and psychological basis. You can feel, you can see these are acting. And these are conscious forces and are supported by a consciousness or consciousness behind. Again, Sri Aurobindo, after a few lines, Sri Aurobindo, this means the action of the universal forces. Action of the universal forces are not merely independent action of your own personality, though something in your nature of which they make use. Yeah, because they use, when they come, these egoistic forces, these hostile forces, they make use of this human being as their instrument. Through it, actually, they carry out. After some time, we'll go and we'll analyze. And exclusively, Sri Aurobindo is now coming to the ashram premises and the ashram surrounding. Those in the ashram who have developed the inner view of things, already it is shown. The ordinary mind, it will be difficult to visualize, to be fair. But in ashram, who have developed the inner view of things on the vital plane, have plenty of experience of these hostile forces. You have seen people are coming, throwing actually stones at the ashram. While mother was journeying in the by the ship, you can see some hostile forces where they were trying to shake the ship so that there will be a fair accident and people will die, so that these people, their souls, and they will be coming under their influence, their number will grow and all. These things you have seen. Many times you have seen hostile attacks, sometimes unexpected rain will be there. Unexpectedly you can find some snakes or something they are coming. And it is also not only for the ashram, it is mother has also seen it, but thing is that it is mother, and they have bowed down their head and they have gone. Again, of course, Sri Aurobindo quotes that beautifully, it is true that all comes from the divine. Everything is coming from the divine, and it is only true that a divine presence and a divine will, two things. One, a divine presence and a divine will is behind all that happens and leads the world towards the divine goal. Divine presence, divine will, that actually leading towards the divine goal, and the man actually who is leading, that he is none other than the divine. So divine is leading through divine presence and divine will towards the divine goal. Again, how it is in Gita, Sri the course. No, actually, the world is a world of obscurity and ignorance, where we are staying. This is here in the course world of a dangerous world, and this is, as for Gita, this is a world of obscurity and ignorance. And that to obtain the divine, one must overcome certain forces of the nature. And initially, here in the course, it is desire. Desire was the helper. Desire is the bar. Kamanara vinasing dukkara vinas. Desire is the sole cause of all suffering. So it is coming that desire, it must be overcome. Again, Gita, which Gita calls the enemy, difficult to overcome. These desires, very difficult to overcome. This is not aspiration. It is only on the ground, the very ground, it is desire. So again, it is in the sense that we speak of hostile forces. These sorts stand on the way of coming out of the ignorance. So, where there is divinity, there is stupidity. They are actually close bedfellows. Is good and bad, good and evil are close bedfellows. Once this good is coming out, trying to come out, then this evil will stand, and actually they will provide much more resistance. Very difficult to come out of the ignorance and attuning to the consciousness of the divine. Very difficult. Again, during the course here, and that it is again true that those who have complete and living faith in the divine, complete and living faith in the divine, those who possess, and a perfect sincerity, again, that living faith, complete and living faith, number one, perfect sincerity in their vision of the divine everywhere. Divine is everywhere. Wherever you see, the world is got fulfilled in outwardness. Divine is everywhere, and pure sattvic nature need not be in trouble themselves about the hostile forces. To sattvic, tamasic, and rajasic. Sattvic people, they never get troubled. Rajasic people will discuss little bit, and of course tamasic people, they don't know, they are already they are in close bedfellows with good and evil. So about the hostile forces, as from them the forces of the ignorance fall back. From the sattvic people, this force of the ignorance, they fall back and can't be take possession of their nature. Definitely it will never touch for the sattvic. And about the Rajasic steer in the course, the reaching about the hostile forces, the teaching about the hostile forces, Asuri Rakshasa forces, is necessary for those who are having divided consciousness, because they confuse, they don't know what is the root, what is the true, what is good, what is bad. So they have got a divided consciousness and they must be taught. More Rajasic temperament. They are having either divided consciousness or Rajasic attachment. They must learn. For they don't know, they are not on their guard. Very difficult, they can't guard themselves, may fall into the control of the undesirable forces of desire and ego, both the things. Again, the hostile forces have their own world. We have seen while the mother was coming, that scenario, these hostile forces, they were trying to shake the sheep on the way, so that there will be accident, people will be people will perish, and after the death, their number will these people, these souls, they will join their the vitals, they will join their club, their number will increase. So like this, their own world which is there. If they keep to it, there could be no objection there to their existence. There is a world that is natural to them and own rhythm. It is there, it is existing, and of course one dharma. So then, lesser gods, the compares have their own, but they want to dominate the evolution. That is what they have the one hidden tendency, hidden idea. They want to dominate the evolution for their purpose, and they take their station in the vital worlds which influence the earth nature and give them a material for their life. This is what it is happening really. So then when the work that is permitted to do on earth, the work is negation, perversion, miscreation is finished, they will be destroyed there. So these are their work is actually perversion. Second is miscreation. Third one is work of negation. If it is there, it is finished, they will never stop. They will never stay. They will simply, they will, everything there, they will be destroyed there. But no reason, suppose they may not exist in their own universe as it is outside the system here. So it must be there, you must be in the yogi consciousness to get rid of it. And again, Sri Aurobindo quotes beautifully, if there were no hostile forces and there were still the evolutionary world, no hostile forces and still evolutionary world actually, there could be ignorance still, but not perversity in the ignorance. If hostile forces were not there, if the world was there, evolution was not there. Ignorance should be there, but actually no perversity and no in the ignorance. All could be partial truth, not full truth, but partially truth. But for this ignorance, for this work of these hostile forces, things are keeping changing. The partial truth acting to the imperfect as instruments, and for the best purpose of this, and stage in a progressive manifestation. Their work is going on. So again, we'll go to understand and know what is the nature of the hostile forces. We'll see. The thing is that Aurobindo quotes here beautifully, very interestingly. The hostile have themselves embodied through not a gross physical kind they see, but in the subtle seeing that include not only bodies but the movements of forces, thoughts, and feelings. These are the things are they possess subtle that can be seen, so subtle bodies, very small, and with a subtle seeing that include only bodies, but movements of the not only bodies but also movements of forces, thoughts, and feelings. It is there, but things are very subtle. Again, the very great occult powers of the hostile forces, we can consider their occult powers of the hostile forces. Sometimes we calculate. These are the things we normally see. What actually it is their occult powers and knowledge, the occult forces that makes them strong and effective. Again, we'll go to see it is the movement of the lower nature that gets purified. The asuras themselves are not easily transformed because they are in the vital world. Some of the vital beings are very intelligent. The Gandharvas are in the vital plane, they are actually like gods, vital gods. But thing is that hostile force, they exist.